What a game, what a second half, what a spectacle. Manchester United will be the happier. They take an away point courtesy of that man after they were 2-1 down. And the captain was right at the forefront of it again. It is a point, it was much better from Manchester United. And here are the post-match thoughts of Bruno Fernandes.
Why we can't do this every week, and it frustrates me for first, because I think finally I did a proper performance overall, and I think where you feel that you can, I think you always can do more, you know, like I come out of the games and it's not like today's also one of them where in the first half probably in 3-4 moments where I'm driving the ball forward, I need probably to hold up a little bit more the ball instead of trying to go for 1-2, because we know.
Interesting from the Manchester United captain. Paulie says that was a proper performance. So go back to Monday and today. What's the difference for you? Why so much better today?
I think personnel makes a big difference. I think the middle of the pitch is always an important. I'm not just saying because I played in there, but I always think it's the most important area of the pitch. And Monday obviously wasn't right. We knew before the game, looking at the team we picked, it was never going to cope with the energy of Newcastle. Today we knew we had half a chance with Agati and Mainu. And I actually think Casemiro and Eriksen could probably play with Agati as well. I don't think, you don't just rule them out of just playing them together. It's just, it's a no-no. He mentioned effort there, didn't he, a lot? Effort in the smaller games that they can't seem to get themselves up for them games for some reason. I don't know why, but I think he's right. That was a proper performance today. To go to Anfield and go toe-to-toe with the best team. As I say, they beat Manchester City, who have been the best team for 4 or 5 years. But that performance was nothing like this. This was better. And I know they didn't win the game like they did at City, but I take more out of that performance than actually winning against the champions. I think now, as he said, that's a blueprint. That's the way they have to go forward. They have to follow up now. That's the standard, as he said. But I think the manager, by now, he should know all his players. I think he's chopped and changed so much. I think now there's a...
Is that pretty close to what you think is available his best team today?
Yeah, it has to be. Who else can come into that? Luke Shaw, if he's possibly fit. Euro to right outside centre-half. Garnacho possibly, but not quite, I don't think. I don't think he gets into it. But
so then, do you want to see him continue, fitness permitting, with that sort of 9 or 10 of that 11 we've seen today for a consistent period?
If them 11 are fit, they have to play until players perform badly and they don't get into the team. Yeah, exactly. Now that is the standard that they've set. That's the standard that they've got to reach in games to come, and I don't see any reason why they can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, games to come will be different. Of course, as Scholesy mentioned, that's as good as it gets from an opponent's point of view. You're playing against one of the best teams in the world in Liverpool, in their backyard. That's as tough a test as it comes. Bruno Fernandes mentioned Southampton. When you're playing these teams, exactly, you're going to have much more of the ball this time. It's a totally different game to what it is today. Today is getting up against it, being brave, taking the ball, taking the sting out of the game.
But the effort levels is what Paul's talking about, isn't it? That we haven't always seen in those Bournemouths at home when they've been losing, Wolves, etc.
Yeah, it's dangerous to go down the effort route, I think. Quality of play, yes.
He went down that route himself, didn't he?
He did. He said we've got to keep
team.
We've got to keep those levels. But I never heard him say we don't try against other teams. It's.
No, but I think he was hinting that Liverpool away, you're obviously up for it more than perhaps Southampton at home.
It's a different game. I find it hard to believe that a team that have won nothing for a good while, okay, they won a cup last year, but they're not a winning machine at the moment. I find it hard to believe that they can have their ups and downs in terms of, well, turn it on in this game and not in others. I think the opponent has a massive influence, not on how much you try, it's just the way the game unfolds and the demands of that game. But the quality and the personnel, as Paul says, that changes from game to game. And now they're playing Southampton next, let's say, or the next league game. That's a totally different kettle of fish to going away to Anfield. Now you're on the front foot. Now you've got to try to, to open a team up. and maybe take risks and maybe leave holes in behind as well. So it's a different kettle of fish. But on today, which we're focusing on, they were very, very good. And that's 2 big results against 2 big teams in the space of a month.
And they took the lead. Martinez's second ever goal for Manchester United. I mean, he hammered this home, didn't he, when Liverpool had possession of the ball?
Yeah, he was on the front foot straight away. He gets in front of Salah. Salah might be just a little bit disappointed. Watch Trent's defending. He had a poor afternoon, and look at that is non-existent. What he's thinking of, I don't know. And Martinez, from being in that front foot position, he carries on. He moves on with the move and keeps going, and it's a brilliant finish for a left-sided centre half. It's so hard. He's not really thinking about much. He's just thinking, I'm putting my foot through this, as probably any centre half normally would do, and it ends up going in perfectly above Alisson.
Yeah, I mean, to start with, I thought, what's he doing in this position? But as we saw there, Trent's ball to Mo Salah. I thought Mo Salah could have done a little bit more. What can Trent do in that situation? He can only sort of feed it into his feet, and Mo was slightly caught on heels. Martinez then obviously nipped in and stayed forward. And then, as Scholesy said, Trent's closing down. Well, it wasn't closing down, was it? Standing still, it was non-event. It was awful. And then he only reacted when Martinez had broke through, and it was a great finish, but frustrating, I would have thought, for a Liverpool manager with Trent's performance and Trent's effort in that goal.
Now, talking of effort, we know for a fact that Arne Slot was preparing 2 substitutes 6 minutes later, and one of those players coming off was Cody Gakpo the next time the ball went out of play. But he did this.
Yeah, he changed his mind a little. What a goal, by the way. I mean, fantastic goal. Possibly could have been prevented.
In what way?
Well, I think Ugarte leaves a position that he's in the perfect position. He vacates it. I mean, he clears the ball there. We highlighted him here. I don't know why he then... Mainu's already got, Gravenberch in the middle. I don't know why he vacates that area and allows Gakpo to do that. Then after that, it's pure brilliance. I mean, faking to shoot with your left foot, cutting inside and whipping it into the top corner. And their reaction was a really positive one as well for me. You can just see what's going on in their mind, and there was no celebration. All of them ran straight back to the halfway. Let's get this game started again. Because obviously a draw, in their mind, was a poor result. So that reaction was impressive as well, but the goal was super impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ugarte, when you're a central midfield player, you don't like being in them wide areas. He's thinking, get me back to the middle of that pitch, get me over there.
Is that what it is?
I'd presume so, yeah. And he does see a little bit of danger, I suppose. He don't want the lad going forward having a shot. And he vacates that area, but look at him there. He's saying, get me in the middle of that pitch. I do know what'll be out here. And you can understand De Ligt not diving, but he's trying to stop the cross. But you've got to give Gakpo really big credit. It's a fantastic bit of skill, and the finish is brilliant.
Oh, I mean, it's a similar position in a way than Højlund was in the first half. Obviously, a few more bodies in them, but that's the difference between being on your right foot. When you're on the right foot and you're coming in, you can set the ball out wide, you can set it and curl it and keep it away from the goalkeeper. Being on your left foot in that area, and that's the beauty of this position nowadays. It never used to be like that, but now you always have a right footer on the left footer on the right, and you cut in and you curl it into the far corner. In hindsight, De Ligt will probably be thinking, should have kept him going. Even if he crosses it, should have kept him going down on his left side, but he lets him inside, and what a finish. Yeah,
10 in 15 for Cody Gakpo. First time he scored in 3 consecutive Premier League games for Liverpool. That was De Ligt involved in the first goal. Do you have a little or any sympathy with him for the second? This wasn't given on field, remember, by Michael Oliver?
Not really. I think his hand's just a little bit too high. What is it, an unnatural position, as we say these days? I don't know, it's quite close to him, but he shouldn't be lifting his hand up there. He gives him something to think about when he shouldn't. Look, it might have gone in anyway. I don't know. It was
on target, wasn't it?
It was definitely on target, yeah. And he gives the referee something to do, or VAR something to do, and I think it's probably the right decision. Good use of VAR then for you?
Very good use. I mean, there's a couple of decisions today. Obviously, in the earlier game, there's a big decision at Fulham that VAR really helped. And again, I thought that was a penalty. Unfortunate, you could say, was close to him, but you can't have your hand up so close. And as I say, the header was going on target. You know, if you're ever going to give a handball for something, then I think that's one that you've got to, because, you know, it's prevented the ball going on the target.
And talking of hands, Onana got very close to this penalty, didn't he?
He probably should save it. He's gone the right way, he's done everything right. Just that weak little hand, I suppose, that left hand going down to it, the ball just crashes through. I think he'd be disappointed. He will be frustrated by that, because you get hands on a penalty, you expect to save it.
Yeah, I thought he should have saved. Well, once you guess right, the ball wasn't that close to the corner. It was hit with pace, and the ball was like a bar of soap today with the snow, with the rain. It was a slippy pitch that today. But getting that close, you'll not really have a better opportunity to save a penalty than that.
And that goal for Mo Salah takes him level with Thierry Henry, no less, in the all-time Premier League list. 1-7-5-2 off Frank Lampard now, and 9 off Sergio Aguero in 5th. So Liverpool 2-1 in front at Anfield. Not often they give away anything, but United had other ideas. They were really positive in the response.
They were, yeah, they were brave all game. I thought Manchester United in possession of the ball. They weren't just defending, long ball up and let's chase it. They were, you know, they were confident in possession. And I think someone like Bruno Fernandes, who's on the ball here, it makes a difference when you've got someone that's just keen just to put their foot on the ball, just once or twice. All of a sudden, you know, it gives the whole team a bit of confidence. Højlund makes a good run. You see here, Konate and Trent Alexander-Arnold are in the switch positions. Garnacho doesn't do too much. I mean, it's a nice little ball. It's a little bit scuffy. Takes a slight deflection. You can just see it flicks off Konate slightly there. But Højlund's run actually pins Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk. It pins them back. It makes them shift back. And then the cutback Scholesy for Ahmad is a good one.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times a cutback you actually get chances to score the goals. As you rightly said, I think Højlund makes that space for it. He takes Van Dijk out of the way. And Konate looked a little bit leggy today to me.
Rusty, wasn't he?
Looked rusty, yeah. He hadn't played for a few games, and he looks the type of player who needs games to keep his sharpness. And a few chances came from that inside left channel where he was playing. But as you said, United rightly came back into the game. You thought at that point you'd be looking at 3-4-1 in previous games where they might collapse and concede chances, but they didn't. They kept doing the right things, kept taking the ball, as Michael said there. Bruno with a nice little slide down the left-hand side, and they had the fresh legs of Garnacho, which was good, and created that brilliant finish for Ahmad.
And as you can see, Ahmad in good company for scoring away at Manchester City and Anfield in the same season. Right, we've heard from the Manchester United captain. Here's the Liverpool one, Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil, that was quite a second half to watch. How do you reflect on a point?
Disappointed. Yeah, that's a feeling that I've got at the moment. Obviously, could be a lot worse with the last chance if that goes in, of course. I think the way we conceded those 2 goals is unacceptable. It's too easy, lazy, and shouldn't happen. But obviously, the way we fight back after we go 1-0 down is a good thing. I think it was quite open in the end, could have gone both ways. But yeah, that's the situation.
When you say about the goals you conceded, what was it specifically that you were annoyed at?
That they came behind our line quite easily, an easy cross and tap in. And these are basic things that we have to improve, and it shouldn't happen.
What about the response? You mentioned it a moment ago, to be 1 down, to come back, to lead. I mean, that's the type of character that you need to show, but then to go and concede the equaliser, is that the particularly disappointing aspect from you, that you got your noses in front and then were pegged back again?
Disappointed to drop points here against Man United. I think it was always going to be a tough game against them. They have good players, a new good manager who has different ideas, and I don't think they get the respect that they deserve at the moment. I heard questions before the game about if we resting players, rotating players. They are a very good side, and they made it difficult for us today. Like I said, it could have gone their way as well. But I look at my own team and how we should have done much better, and that's why I'm disappointed today, because we wanted to win. We could have won. Like I said as well, you know, if we want to win, we have to also be more dominant in the way we press, and when we have the ball, make better decisions too.
We can hear the disappointment in his voice. 7 years ago to the day since he made his Liverpool debut, by the way, Virgil van Dijk. Is that just a sign of the standards they've set under Arne Slot?
Absolutely, yeah. And himself, before Arne Slot came. I mean, the standards have always been there from the players, and leaders like Virgil van Dijk. Of course, there'll be a little bit of disappointment, but it's not the worst result in the world. You know, you've not been beaten. You've got another point, you know, further clear of your nearest rival. Still got a game in hand. Still lots to be positive about for Liverpool. But of course, you know, they're perfectionists. They're, you know, at the top of the table and flying high in all competitions, and rightly so. Their performances have been incredible this season. So, you know, having those high standards is you know, you expect nothing else from Virgil van Dijk, but it's not the end of the world for Liverpool today. Absolutely not.
He mentioned the open end to the game and how both sides had chances. Let's deal with Liverpool's first. Tremendous tackle from Yoro on Nunez from the break here, but you've noticed something very minute but very crucial from Darwin Nunez.
I thought so, yeah. I thought, you know, sometimes you've got to be a little bit clever, a little bit cute. I think he takes it with his wrong foot. He waits for the ball to come to his right foot. The near foot there is his left foot. You know, Jota eventually has his shot, and Arne parries it out. But I just think when we see it at a different angle, this is a great effort as well, by the way. Conor Bradley does see a little gap, and Arne just closes it off. Maybe he could have cut it back, but there was a big gap there. But I just thought when the cross came in, here, take it on your left foot. If you take that on your left foot, your near foot that's further away from Yoro, you get a penalty. Absolutely, he brings you down. But he lets it come across his body, which then gives Yoro a chance to actually make the tackle. So as I say, if I were him, I think he should have gone left foot and taken it at an earlier point away from Yoro, take him out of the game, and he would have brought him down and it would have been another penalty. It's a great effort. Well, great little flick on, and just had no pace on for the second header from Virgil van Dijk here. Yeah,
as you say, it's a delicate little flick from McCarthy. It's a brilliant little flick, and you'd expect him to score there from 3 or 4 yards, but I just don't think he can quite reach it, can he, to guide it. But great tackle from Euro. You have to give him credit for that as well. But as Michael said, he gave him the chance to do it, and he shouldn't.
Now then, sometimes in this fixture you get heroes who stand forward. Harry Maguire could have been that hero. The last kick of the game, the whistle went after this.
Or Xerxes.
Yeah.
You think he's going to shoot there. That
should he have shot?
Well, looking at it now, yeah, he probably should have done. But he's obviously a player who's lacking in confidence. You see all the United fans give him a great reception when he came out of disappointment on Monday. He's cut back. It might be the best thing to do that, actually, but the execution of it is poor. He kicks the ball into the ground. You go into a centre half. Do you think I'm probably better off? I can't imagine Michael passing to Rio Ferdinand if he's squaring it. You know?
No, certainly not him. No. He's not here, is he?
You're going for that far corner, surely.
That smacks you in the face of somebody with no confidence. Yeah. But what do you expect? The manager dragged him off for half an hour the other day.
Yeah.
One, you're not shooting. That's a total lack of confidence. Two, you're passing to a defender. Well, why would you do that when you're attacking player? Now, if you're going to do that, fine. But then the pass was just awful. It was nervous. It was bouncy. It was spinny. It was just I don't want this.
Don't want the ball.
I don't want
the
this.
only reason you square that if it's an open goal, if an empty goal. Maguire,
it's as hard a chance.
Even if the ball's perfect, he's still got 2 players to get it past.
Yeah.
So Xerxes got. The more you look at it, you think he's got to be the one to take the shot. He's got the shot free of goal. He's got one person to beat.
Yeah. But the ball, as I say,
it
just the whole sequence, the decision, and then once you make the negative decision, then you play the safe, easy, horrible. Instead of taking care and playing a more, precise on-the-floor pass, it just struck me of, oh my word, that guy's just got no confidence and he's in a panicking position, and it's the worst place in the world to be. If you've got no confidence, being in front of goal when all the eyes of the world are on you. Not very nice.
And we talk about fine margins. That could have been a huge moment if that goes in the back.
It could have been for him. We were talking before about Diego Forlan. He was in a very similar position, couldn't score a goal for United, and he scores there, and he's a big hero.
That end as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's that end, that side of the pitch. And it's the only thing he's thought about is scoring the winning goal at Anfield. He had a great chance to do it. He'll probably look back and think, well, I should have, probably made the wrong decision, but as Michael said, he's a player lacking in confidence. He's been dragged off after half an hour. His chin's on the floor. and he comes on Anfield to a really difficult place, and he gets in a great position, great run, great ball into him. You think, come on, this is it for you, and he didn't quite take it, but I'm hoping that there's opportunity in the future that he probably will change his mind.
It's the flip side. We've seen managers in the past get back to 2-2 at a place like Anfield and just bank in, take the point. But this United team, this United manager weren't doing that, as that chance showed.
No, they've got to show more of that. That was the case today, yes. But that's a theme that has to...
Carry on.
That's a theme that has to carry on, yeah. It's OK doing it on a one-off, but they've got to produce that week in, week out now. As I said, we've seen that blueprint. We've seen 8 or 9 players that, if fit, could probably play every week. I think Lenny Euro, if he gets right, if he gets games under his belt, he could be one that comes into that back three to the right-hand side. You think of Ugarte, Mainu, you think if they're fit, they're going to play. Mainu needs games. I think Mainu at times is a little bit sloppy today in possession, but he's not played a lot of football. He will get sharper as the season goes on. And there will be a better team. With Mainu and Ugarte in the team, no doubt there'll be a better team, I think. Fernandes and Diallo in them positions were a threat. I think Fernandes, quality-wise, he just brings a bit of composure to the game, which was good. Obviously, Diallo with his threat from that position. I think he's better suited there to wing-back. I think they played quite defensive wing-backs today, which you can understand at Anfield away. Of course you can. Will he change that in some way in games to come? Will he play one defensive one and then possibly bring a Garnacho into left-hand side as more of an attacking wing-back? He's got options there, but I think as long as he sticks with this, the majority of this team, your 7, 8, 9 players of this team, just adds bits around it and get a bit of momentum now. I think they're capable of doing all right. They're still not going to be brilliant, but they're going to do all right.
Where are you sitting now with the midfield? I mean, we've mentioned Casemiro, Eriksen, of course, Mainu, but Ugarte now, the way you're talking, it's almost like for the legs alone in that position, is he now a must? Is he now the sort of... Yeah, Ugarte, yeah. Is he now the one that if you were the manager, you go, right, it's him and then somebody else?
It has to be. And I think all 3 of them are capable of playing with him.
Yeah.
I think Mainu would be the best one, once he's right, once he's playing, once his fitness is better.
And is that sort of partnership and understanding over a period of time going to be beneficial, hopefully, to the team?
It has to be, yeah. I think partnerships all over the pitch are important. And you look at Manchester United now, you don't really see any partnerships. You don't see any links between players. You don't see a link between a midfielder and a forward that you used to see. And they've just gone out of the game. But them two, any two in there, oh, sorry, not any two, Ugarte and another one, are more than capable of playing for that team. And not just Ugarte for his legs, I even think his quality on the ball it surprised me a little bit, because I did see a little bit of him at PSG. And he's probably done better than I think he would do. And
well, I suppose the manager's finding out about all these players, but he's one he's had for a full season before.
Yeah, he's had before at Lisbon and did well from at Lisbon. He's a really young player as well. So he knows him, and I think this lad, he's really grown in confidence. I thought he took up some great positions, he helped defend defensively, he helped with the attack, and I thought even he had the composure to take the ball as well. And it looks to me like it has to be him with another.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of choice, but obviously a lot of them are struggling for legs, aren't they, I suppose? That's the problem, the different types of players.
Mainu with his legs has to be a worry. He doesn't finish a lot of games.
Don't finish a lot of games. He looks heavy, but he tires a lot, doesn't he? And if it's one thing, he's an unbelievable player, but if there's one thing about Mainu, it's getting around the pitch and his ability to last a full game at the high intensity that's needed. And then you look at the other alternatives. You've got Eriksen that's getting on in years, Casemiro that's never been that mobile but getting on in years. So I guess you're left with Ugarte and another.
And I guess if, and we don't know, if they can do any kind of business in January, you wouldn't say with those names that centre midfield would be the priority if they can only bring in, say, one player in January, would you? Or would you?
I still think they need better than what they've got if they're going to go to another level. I think maybe...
But in the short term, say you can bring in one player...
Centre forward has to be.
Yeah, it has to be.
Where do you find those in January?
Well,
then?
where do you find anybody?
Where do you find anybody in January? It's so difficult, but a centre forward has to be a priority,
Yeah. I mean, there's one, isn't there, really? Well,
there's the Osherman rumours, I suppose,
Yeah, no, I mean, there's one in the squad now that's a recognised centre-forward. If you don't play Højlund, then you're either playing someone like Xerxes that, by the managers and by Xerxes himself, they don't they both think he's a 10, let's say. Who else isn't? Rashford can play that position. He's never wanted to play that position, really. Ahmad, is a 10 as well. He's the only one in the squad.
I was just going to say, the mismanagement of the squad to allow Man United to have one centre-forward, and one centre-forward who wasn't proven, by the way. He's never had a brilliant goal-scoring record. He did okay at Atalanta, but it wasn't amazing. And for Manchester United, when you're talking about an attacking team, the history of Manchester United scoring goals, and they're left with one centre forward, I think Michael's right. It has to be a priority. But where do you get them from in January? I don't know.
And that is always the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, there's been some good players signed in January in the past. I mean, Manchester United signed Vidic. Did they sign Fernandes?
Patrice Evra.
But there's been some good ones in January, but it's not easy.
Let's go back to Anfield, speak to one of the Manchester United players. Diogo Dalot is waiting to talk to us in the rain. Thank you for joining us. 2-1 down at Anfield. Would you take that, or are you running that Harry Maguire chance through your mind that could have been a better day?
Yeah, obviously, I think it would be a total different feeling if that chance would go in. But apart from the result, I think what we wanted really to see was the fighting spirit that we showed, the character, playing football. I think it was a proper football game. Everybody enjoyed to watch. And us inside the pitch, we enjoyed as well. And I think that was the first little step that we wanted to bring back to our team. And today we showed more that we can be a team, and that's I think the standard for the rest of games.
Yeah, that is the positive. What's the difference then, Diogo? Perhaps even from the last game, how you can go from one level to that today?
I mean, we have to be realistic. This is probably the lowest that this club has been, and it's tough. It's tough to hear things. I mean, you have two players inside that studio that know what it is to win for this club. They know the maximum standard of this club, and for us to arrive there, we have to fight, and we have to work really hard. And I've been here for a while. I want to have that feeling as well, and I know that the first step to arrive there is at least show what we showed today, but we need to show every game. This is not a one game yes or one game no. We just have to be consistent on that.
Diogo, Paul Scholes, well done. I think that was probably Manchester United's best performance of the season. Now, you've had 4 or 5, maybe even 6 days to work on stuff since the Newcastle game. Do you think that's been a big help?
It was, definitely. I mean, I don't want to try to find excuses, but the reality is that we didn't have a lot of time to train. And, in football, when you have changing of manager, changing of formation, you just need time to train. And in the busiest schedule of the year, you have to find that little gap to improve as quick as you can, because at this club you don't have time to do it during the game. So we were almost like training in games, and it's so hard when things are not going so well. And today definitely we showed that we had a couple more days to train, to settle ideas, to work on a little bit more on what the manager wants us to do. But I mean, I think the biggest difference was the desire that we showed to come here and at least leave the pitch with a little bit proud of ourselves. And I think today we can say that we are.
Yeah, well played, Diego. It's Michael Owen here. I was just wondering, in terms of your specific position, it's probably the hardest, or one of the hardest, when you change the systems. How are you finding that personally, compared to, let's say, the first game of the season under the new manager?
Yeah, I won't lie. It took me a couple of games to get used in terms of physical demanding is so hard. I know I can take it. I know I'm a fullback. I've been built to run, but obviously it was something that I was not used to do it here. So it took me a couple of games, but I think I'm finding myself in the position, trying to do what the manager wants me to do. And it's something that has to be progressive. I want to progress, but with the team as well. I think it has to be important that we collectively be progressive as well.
And just finally, Diego, when you get a result like this today, 2-1 down at Anfield, could have won it, what does that do short-term to the belief and the confidence for those further small steps forward?
It shows when we are when we have the right approach, when we represent this club at the maximum standard, we give everything. We are connected with the fans. I think today they were amazing, and they felt that we wanted to come here and win the game. And I think that's the minimum. And after that, we build, and I'm hoping that's what we're gonna do from nowwards. But because you can leave here and say, okay, if we can do this against Liverpool, they are in a very good run this season. We can do against any team, but we just have to do it every game.
Well, really well done today. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Diego Dalot for you live from Anfield. Right, when we come back, we will hear from both managers because he's still lost only one game since he took charge in the Liverpool hot seat, but he didn't get all 3 points today. And you sense that he might be the happier. A small step forward for United. And Ruben Amorim be a little bit disappointed he hasn't taken all 3 points today. Just one after the 2-2 draw with Manchester United. Here are the thoughts of Arne Slot.
Tell us about the tactical battle, because before the game you weren't 100% sure what to expect from Man United. Formation-wise you were, but you didn't know if they were going to sit in a block or high press. How did you see how that kind of unfolded?
A bit of both. Mostly a low block they had, and sometimes they pressed a bit higher. And normally I've seen them a bit more bring the ball out from the back. Today it was every time Onana had the ball, they didn't take the risk of build-up. So we weren't surprised with anything they did, because they played this style now for a few weeks. Maybe the only thing that was a bit different than other times is that they didn't do a lot of build-up. They mostly kicked the ball now.
Yeah. If and when they did cause you problems, and certainly the 2 goals, did you feel like a lot of it came down your right today?
Yeah, I think they did. That has also to do with Bruno Fernandes, which is a very, very good player. And he played a very good game today as well. So, and they've shown many times United, if things are really difficult for them, they can show up. They did this in the FA Cup final this season against the City away. So, and they did cause us some problems. Dalot was a threat as well on the left side. So, yeah. We are talking about 2 starters of the Portugal national team, and yeah, that's why it's not always easy to prevent them from getting in dangerous situations, which happened a few times today, and unfortunately that led to 2 goals.
Yeah. It did look like an unusually difficult afternoon for Trent, though. Do you think? I mean, there's been noise, a lot of it coming from us around him all season. Do you think that distraction finally got the better of him today?
No, I don't think so. I think Trent has played mostly very good games for this club, and there probably have been games that he wasn't on his best. Today wasn't his best game, but that probably had to do with them as well. Especially in the first half, sometimes Ryan wasn't close enough to him, so he was sometimes in a 2v1 situation as well. So I would put it more on the quality of Dalot and Bruno Fernandes than that is down to Trent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's an interesting point. Liverpool's right were pushed. He thinks it's more the quality of Dalot and Fernandes. What was your opinion of Trent today?
Yeah, well, Fernandes got man of the match, or player of the match. So, yeah, they did play well. Manchester United had a lot of good players, a lot of good attacks, let's say. But there's no question about it. He's protecting his man a little bit there. Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't have a great game. Didn't follow the runner there. This was probably one of Manchester United's best chances in the first half. He possibly could have done better. Again, letting a runner go, which is, unforgivable, really. It got worse, I must admit. Anybody can get taken on, and I wouldn't say this was an awful bit of defending, but again, didn't cover himself in glory. But the goal, and again, I don't necessarily think that's the worst pass in the world. I thought Mo Salah was a little bit on his heels, but this now, Bruno Fernandes just walking past him and him just,
Can you forgive that?
I don't even know what that is. That's just, that's just shocking, really. That was the bit that made me sit back in my chair and think, wow. And you can see here on the graphic, Manchester United certainly attacked that side more. Now, whether that was a ploy before the game or whether it developed during the game, we will never know, I guess. But that's exactly what happened.
It's always been labelled against him, hasn't it? We showed all pre-match how fantastic he is, the quality going forward. But in that kind of situation, that's always been labelled against him.
Yeah, when you look at the Liverpool team, I suppose when you analyse and when you come up to play against, you think where are Liverpool's weaknesses defensively? And I always think it's both fullbacks. Now, I think Andy Robertson has had a shaky few weeks, so I thought he was actually all right today. But Trent is capable of that. We've seen that a lot. We know how good he is. We know how influential he can be. His technique brilliant. His balls into players are normally very good. But defending like that in a Manchester United game at Anfield, it's really, you find it hard to believe. Really, it's almost blasé. Really, as if go on and it's okay. You just go past me. And the goal comes from that. It's his reaction as well to his. Not so much his pass. As Michael said, it wasn't a great pass. I think Mo Salah can, as Michael said, do a lot more for him. But that's gone. Then he has to react and think, right, I'm going to stop this now. And his reaction to it was nothing short of pathetic.
And
really.
you wonder, don't you? I mean, he's got two of the best centre-halves alongside him, covering him all the time. You know, a couple of years ago, it was Jordan Henderson.
There. Gravenberch should have been covering him more, which is a role Henderson did so often, didn't he?
And I just was mentioning a couple of years ago, he had Henderson literally filling in all the time. Then he's had, Fabinho was a great sitting midfielder. He's got Gravenberch that can cover the ground. He's got two centre-halves that cover him all the time. I mean, he is protected unbelievably for him to then go and show his stuff. But on the odd occasion, he's actually asked to do his defensive work. It's not up to scratch, but everybody knows that. Everybody knows that.
Can I say I wasn't right today, though? When you think of that channel, it was the perfect channel to target, really. You think Konate not playing games, as I said before, he's a player who needs to be playing every week to get that sharpness. And he looked slow, he looked sluggish, he looked like he'd not played for a good while. So,
6 weeks.
So that channel was perfect for Manchester United to attack. And Bruno Fernandes, he said he has the composure to take the ball in them areas and play people. And Dalot isn't actually a flying wing back either, do you know what I mean? So Trent's going to have tougher challenges than that, playing against left wingers. But it was the right area to target, and I think United did it very well.
And that will have pleased their head coach. And here he is, Ruben Amorim.
Well, Ruben, not a win, and maybe not perfect, but was that a...
Really interesting, that Paul from the United. He said really mad 3 times.
Yeah.
Basically, he hasn't seen that attitude in any of his previous games in charge until today.
Well, I think that was plain to see, Steve. He's frustrated. He's equally pleased as he is frustrated with the performance, because even me sat here thinking, I watched there, that was brilliant, really, really good. But I can't get excited about it because I don't know what's going to come next. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen in the next 5 or 6 games. You can't predict this team. I think, as I said before, I think personnel was better. I think it was better suited to the way he wants to play. And he's right. He can't coach effort. He's had 5 or 6 days with him. Yeah, brilliant. You can put him in positions. You can tell how are you going to score a goal, how are you going to keep possession, how are you going to build up from the back. But he can't give him the desire inside the stomach, the fire in the belly to go out there and actually perform like they did today. And that is always part of being a Manchester United player, because teams will always be desperate to beat. Manchester United 14th in Premier League, teams are still absolutely desperate to come and beat them. So if you don't match them for effort, or even give more effort than them, you're going to struggle. And today they did that.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your company as always. Michael and Paul, privileged to watch that game. Another real watchable Premier League game. And it ends a point apiece between the 2 giants from the 3 of us. We'll see you soon.